Welcome, listeners, to another edition of Podcast 17. This is episode 180. I am your host, William, and with me today is Phillip is up here.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
And Glenn is above him, like way up there. Hi, Glenn.
Oh, right.
Hey, Glenn.
Hi, Philip. Hi, William.
Hi, guys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I've got the stream up, so...
Yeah, no, Glenn's on top, Phillip's in the middle, and I'm on the bottom. So we're sandwiching Phillip.
I'm a Podcast 17 sandwich.
So Phillip hasn't been here a while, so what's up?
No, not much. Just been, doing PP stuff. Got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. A lot of stuff coming in the pipeline. So
cool. We look forward to it. And Glenn hasn't been here in a while either. Both of you haven't been here for the video cast.
That's true.
And Glenn, you launched valvetime.net.
Oh, that's right. I haven't been on since that launched, have I?
Yeah, so tell us about it.
Yeah, I've just been really, really busy with it. So it's basically, we shut down Half-Life 2.net and we reinvented it with the name valvetime.net. And it's basically, the same community still exists there, but we're doing a whole bunch of new things that we never did before. So there's a couple of new things, like on the articles, video content, different reviews. Just sort of a whole new, different way of doing things. I think you discussed a couple of the new articles and things we've done there so far. It's been good fun. It's keeping me really busy, though. It's such a pain having to do
Now
work.
you actually have to do things.
Yeah, that's the hassle of it all, you know. But, it
so
keeps you busy.
what's your role on the site? Are you like head honcho?
The
Poster
original
child.
owner has a less hands-on approach. What I was for the last couple of years was lead editor, and I've sort of I've done that for a long time, but I've moved that onto someone else now, and now I'm sort of I'm an administrator still, but I'm working mostly on community stuff and video content, and yeah, so I'm community admin now. That's how I count myself. But I'm sick of being lead editor because, to be honest, all the people that work and do writing on the site are people that do English or journalism at university. I'm a science student. I can barely spell, so it doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go and do my community stuff instead, which I prefer much more. I think this includes in that stuff, this community sort of thing. So that's why I prefer doing this.
Looks good. Looks great. I love the new design. Why did you change the name?
It pigeonholed us pretty much. I mean,
Right, okay. I've been waiting for you to say that because 2 years ago we had this discussion about how, Half-Life 2 was like the wrong name, and you were like, no, it's okay. Everybody knows that we all do that stuff. And 2 fucking years it took you to realise that Half-Life 2 was pigeonholing you.
Did I really have that conversation with you? Because I can't believe if I said that to you, then I was so wrong. I don't know why I said that in
I
defence.
wish I'd recorded it. I record all conversations from now on.
I can deny it.
So I can play them back.
I never said it.
No, I'm just teasing you. I mean, Planet Phillip is a stupid name as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but at least you're not pigeonholing yourself. Here on Podcast 17, we pigeonhole ourselves too.
Yeah, Podcast 17 Googles
do.
very well. As in, episode 17 of every podcast which has ever existed.
Yeah, that's true, but...
That's annoying.
Yeah, okay. But people who want to Google Podcast 17 already know where to find us, right?
That's true.
They're not going to
That's
Google
me.
Podcast 17. They're going to Google...
I used to spend hours doing all my research, searching for different terms and using different search engines and, listing them in Excel and then working out if I'd gone up and down and shit like that. Do you ever sort of search for Half-Life podcast and stuff like that and see where you are?
Yeah, we do that. Nick keeps track of our page rankings, which is like the big thing on Google, right? Every page is ranked and based on popularity, shit like that. So yeah, we keep an eye on that. Remember how long it took us to fucking get the name Podcast 17? And we're going back.
Yeah.
Why did it take long time?
Well, because we didn't know what to call it, and we threw a few ideas around ourselves, and then we decided to run the competition with Left 4 Dead as the prize.
Mm-hmm.
And my big name was all about that beer.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
Thinking that it worked well with Barney, and kind of like just sitting around the bar shooting the breeze and stuff. But if you started it again, William, what would you call it this time?
I like the name Podcast 17. I don't know. I guess it's grown on me.
I'd find it difficult not if it had never been Podcast 17. Otherwise, it's grown on me as well. But now knowing what what you know now about the way it sort of Googles and things, do you think you would have gone for something
Yeah, I
different?
don't know. Maybe I would have changed it to something else. Maybe I would have called it Steamcast. Actually, we were... Because Steamcast didn't exist then. No, we were actually thinking about calling it Valvecast. And actually, we own the domain Valvecast.
Yeah, we did that a while ago, didn't we?
Nobody can buy that because we own it. We parked it.
Do you still own it?
Yeah. So we've parked
When
it.
did we do that? It was like at least 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly. So we were thinking about Valvecast. But that would have pigeonholed us as well, right? Anyway,
That's all right.
anything's going to pigeonhole you.
Pigeonhole cast. Yeah.
And we can all join in every week because we all shot ourselves in the foot.
All right, so in Podcast 17 news this week, as Glenn found out, and as the live listeners are finding out as well, DST begins tomorrow. So, like, all the time zones and shit are all fucked up right now. It's not normal, but starting tomorrow, everything will be back in sync. You know what I mean? Like, Britain will be 5 hours from Eastern Standard Time, so everything will be back to normal, and we can stop all this confusion. Nick has a really good post up here on the blog explaining all of it, because he keeps up to date with all the time settings and everything. Once again, we should just use a standard time. I guess GMT works like that. So.
UTC.
Also in Podcast 17 news, we have an all points bulletin out for a dedicated reviewer. We have found out here on Podcast 17 that co-hosts and hosts are not good at reviewing video games. And the co-hosts and hosts have no dedication to review video games.
Hey. The other co-host.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're not specifically
High
talking
five,
about,
Philip.
we're not talking about
Ready?
Philip.
You've got to do it up.
He's not paying attention.
Oh, all right, okay, yeah.
So basically we're looking for a dedicated reviewer. We're not looking for somebody to join the cast. We're looking for somebody who wants to review video games and has experience reviewing video games in a video format. So if you're interested in that, email Gerardo. His email is in the agenda. It's gerardo@podcast17.com. And he'll take a look at your resume, and he's like terribly scary. So it'll probably be a really bad review process too, or interview process.
Are you trying to get people to join or not? I'm not sure.
But no, it'll be fun. There's no payment, obviously, because we make no money. But you'll get the games, right? Free games.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
They need to provide, as part of their interview process, they need to provide a video of their review of Podcast 17.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. They should review Podcast 17.
Review Podcast 17 in video format.
Let's not say it's a requirement, but it's definitely a plus.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So email Gerardo if you want to become a dedicated reviewer. And like I said, what you get out of it is prestige, happiness in life, and of course free video games.
Yeah.
And Glenn's guitar, because he doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah, we'll give you Glenn's guitar. It's left-handed though, so
Okay.
it'll be useless to just about everybody.
And Philip's Rolls Royce is in the post as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
When I finish trying it.
And dripping it away.
Alright, so let's jump into From Mouth of Valve, and CSGO had some more updates this week. Did you guys, if you look at the post here, talking about hitboxes between CSGO and CS Source, this might not interest Philip. He probably doesn't give two shits about this. But
I'll be honest, I'm not even sure I know what a hitbox is.
But Glenn might be on the same page as this. But it's cool looking at the differences between hitboxes of CS Source and CSGO. They got a little animation here.
Yeah, well, I've always had the opinion that, well, I think everyone else was the same, that the Counter-Strike Source hitboxes were too big.
Yeah, they're way too big.
But
they're too fat.
I mean, yeah, you can spray, and more likely than not, you'll hit someone in the head. Why not? In Counter-Strike 1.6, which was the game that I preferred far more than CS Source, it felt much harder to aim and hit people in the head. But all they're saying is that the hitboxes were pretty much the same size, except the models were larger in CS Source. I think that's what they're saying in this post.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yep.
And CSGO does feel a lot more like 1.6, and you can pretty much see why, because they're using hitboxes, which, although the models are still big, they're saying the hitboxes are smaller than CS Source.
They're not. I don't think they're so much smaller when you're looking at somebody from a frontal view. They're a lot skinnier, like from the side, right? That's a big difference. They're way skinnier from the side. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, it does make a difference.
Are they all the same size?
What do you mean?
Oh, what?
Well, I mean, you know, if somebody comes along who's like a noob like me,
Yeah.
when I'm playing you, your hitbox should be huge, and my hitbox should be like really tiny, just like my package. No, because then that evens it out, doesn't it? Like an idiot like me can play, and you know, like you guys, and we can have a fair match because.
But what they're doing instead, Philip, is that we're going to have matchmaking instead. So basically, you're going to have to play with the people that don't have hands, and I get to play with people that do. So that evens out. I mean, you wouldn't want to
but
play
maybe I want to play with people that you know are better than me. I want to just have a bit of fun with my friends.
You can still play with your friends.
Yeah, I think they said they will add a server browser as well.
Yeah.
The matchmaking, I think, is just is something else if you want to play in the competitive mode. I think
that'd be cool though, Philip. You come up with a good point. Somebody should make a mod where the hitboxes dynamically adjust themselves based on the performance of somebody in a server. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Glenn's making faces.
My ideas are cool. Well,
yeah,
look,
I
he's
don't
got
know.
a finger to the mouth. Ooh, not sure now.
No, I don't think so. We add a lot to this video show.
Comment.
I can read your facial expressions, Glenn.
I forgot that you can see me, so I'm just sitting here thinking that's a terrible idea. No, I think it's great.
Okay. Anyway, also in CS:GO, parity. They're talking a little bit about bullet spray between CS:GO, CS Source, and CS 1.6, and to me it looks like it's all the same. Do you see any difference between these images, Glenn?
No, they look pretty much the same.
Yeah. All at the same ranges.
But more interestingly, is it on the agenda? But you know they released Office, don't you?
No, I did. That's not on the agenda. No.
Maybe it should be.
Okay, so let's go to the blog here. Let's talk about it right now. Yeah, I don't know. They don't even have a post about that.
I don't know why they don't have a post, but it definitely happened. Okay. I didn't imagine this last night.
It's probably on Lambda Generation.
It's in the movement post. That's where it is.
Okay.
If you go to movement. Yeah, so the new map on when you do quick match now takes you to Office, I believe. And they've basically reskinned the whole thing. It's sort of newer again. I don't know if you remember the jump from Office from 1.6 to CSS, but it was like, oh my god, it looks brilliant. I think it's one of the first maps they ever showed.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically brought it up to date again. They've moved some of the things around. They've narrowed some of the corridors. They've opened up certain parts of it. I think they've changed one of the routes completely. And they've added a couple of new guns as well, which are actually quite interesting guns.
Which guns did they add?
Sort of shotgun, which I think only the terrorists can use.
Okay.
It basically looks like 12 gauge from CSS and 1.6, not very exciting. The X1014, which is the boomstick, the pump action shotgun, no, the automatic shotgun, sorry. It's the same one that's in Left 4 Dead actually, you know, the automatic shotgun?
Yep.
That one. And then there's the Negev, which is, I don't know if I'm saying that right, I have no idea, but it looks like the Parrot's big, fat machine gun that goes...
Yeah, I gotcha.
You know. And then the Mag 7, which is I think it's in heavy. Yeah, I think it's a heavy weapon. But it looks like a little Uzi-like thing, but it actually shoots shells. I think it's only got four shells or something in a clip. But it basically it's like it shoots spray. I don't really understand it. I don't really understand guns that I've never used before in other games. This is called this Mag 7. I don't know much about it, but it seems to shoot like a little spray of shells at people, and I think you only get about four shells in a clip or something. If someone could explain to me what actually that is, it's a new gun, it's in the heavy section, I don't understand why it's in the game, it's never been in a Counter-Strike game before.
Okay. Also,
it's a bit different.
I'm taking a look at the Lambda Generation post about this, and if you remember those whiteboards, whiteboards that showed up in the CS VPK that we thought we were going to be putting in, they'd be putting in CS Office?
Oh yeah.
They're not actually in Office.
Right.
So those whiteboards, like with episode 3 hints and everything, aren't there. That's strange.
Yeah, I think didn't we come to the conclusion that those whiteboards were literally Valve's attempt at they're intentionally putting things down in the files for us to find just to wind us up.
Yeah, probably. That's probably what it is.
Yeah, that was quite funny.
Anyway, also in CS:GO, they got a video here showing off chickens blowing up massive amounts of chicken overkill. Anyway, you can check it
It's
out.
pretty unsatisfying to watch them blow up.
Yeah, there's not enough giving.
They don't give or anything.
Yeah, there's no giving. It's sad. Philip, are you interested in CS:GO?
No, but I'm interested in a mod called Chicken Gib, where you can, control exactly how the chickens give, because that sounds freaking awesome to me.
It does sound awesome. I agree.
Compared to a tactical shooter, Phillip, which has survived 10, 15 years of continual play and one of the top online multiplayer competitive games, and you've never touched Counter-Strike.
No, I don't think I have.
No?
You've never played Counter-Strike, really?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Do you think
maybe I'll have a go with the? I'll have a go with the go. Depends if I get
it.
If I get it, then maybe I'll have a go. I don't know.
You'll give Go a go. I like that.
I'll give Go a go.
Alright, fair enough. Also from Melt Valve, Dota 2 blog, the trails will run red. It looks like they added a new hero, Lycan, and I don't know what this is. Hero performance rating. You can check it out. We don't care about Dota. So moving on. Oh, there's more Dota here. Dota 2 China launch is mandatory if we want Dota to succeed, says Valve. Was there ever any speculation that Dota 2 wasn't going to launch in China? What's this all about?
I don't think so. I mean, the issue is that I think Valve calls the China the biggest Dota 2 population and Dota population in the world. I think that's where most of the players are, and Steam isn't actually available in China.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading here now too. That's right.
Yeah, so there's no actual way for them to get Dota 2 to people in China, and I think there's a billion people live in that country. Yeah, they're basically trying to find a way to get Dota into China.
Do we know the reason why Steam isn't in China? Do they just not have a partner there that can distribute it, or is it because of regulations, or?
No, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know, but I think it's partly to do with the fact that they don't, like you say, they've never had a real presence there, and they don't really know how the system works there. It could also be their regime or something, yeah.
Well, I mean, they got pretty strict regulations in China too. I don't know if that would somehow take into account for it. Just speculation, I guess.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, they've always used a partner in the past. I think it says in that article that they previously teamed up with Nexon to release Counter-Strike Online.
Yep.
I think that was generally Asia, not just China, though. And they might be looking to use a partner in a similar way to release Dota 2 in China, which will probably not be with Steam. It will probably be some sort of other system. God knows how that will work, but maybe there'll be some sort of browser-based thing, maybe like a BattleNet sort of thing. I don't know.
But it also could mean that Valve is really going to start pushing Steam in China, which would, you're right, that's a crazy population gap right there. We're going to get an amount of people.
Will they be pushing Steam, or will they be going for another approach?
Yeah.
You know.
That's true.
So are we saying that like Episode 2 and Left 4 Dead and stuff is not available in China?
I think it is.
It is, just through different avenues.
Yeah, I think it's retail. So yeah, that's a good point, Philip. Yeah. However that works, however those games run right now will probably be the same how Dota 2 runs.
Maybe they just have a closed system. I mean, it sort of connects to a server, but you can't, use all the facilities that Steam has. Strange.
Yeah, I don't think it even exists. I don't think Steam even exists in any capacity. I think these partners that they team up with, like Nexon, I think they literally take the game and then they sort of what's the term? Regionalize it, so that the language is changed and this makes more sense. Because I think I've read studies before about cultural things being slightly different in some parts of the world. I think Asia tends to have menu systems that are slightly different in certain ways, or they like having layouts slightly different ways to sort of westernized games. I don't know if this is something that you've noticed in things like like Japanese game developers and stuff. There seems to be slight differences between how sort of patterns in the way things are developed and menus are sort of set out.
Definitely something to ask Gabe next time you get him on or something.
That might be a good question, yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, PC Gamer is running an article here about Valve on bringing the PC to E3. They're not necessarily Valve isn't necessarily saying what they're bringing to E3, but they said that they really want to push more PC development at E3. So they're hoping to sort of get together a show or get together a group of people to just talk about PC gaming and where the PC is going, which sounds interesting, but I mean, I don't know what sort of effect that will have at this point.
Is this the E3 article you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they also want to. There was also discussion in the article about the fact they wanted to have a, like the Xbox 360, Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo have their own show.
Yeah, the PC should have their own show. Yeah.
They think the PC should have their own show. Do you think it could?
I think it could. Yeah, it depends who runs it, though, right? PC is just so open. That's the whole point. That who would run it?
Yeah, who owns the platform? No one owns the platform.
No one owns the platform, right. So it's kind of hard to say. And then who headlines the PC show every year? You're going to have developers combating, and like at least with the Xbox show, Microsoft always runs it. With the Sony show, Sony always runs it. Nintendo.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's almost like it's not quite the right word, say a PC show. Maybe there should be a Steam show. I don't know. But then we're missing a whole bunch of massive titles every year, like Battlefield 3. It doesn't make any sense.
That nobody cares about. I'm just kidding. Phillip, have you tried Origin?
No.
Yeah, neither have I.
I'm not sure there's any games on there that particularly interest me, but everything I need is on Steam.
Yeah, me too.
Really.
On that note, actually, there's something that happened this week. I'm putting it on the. I'm opening the store on the live video right now, but you can, for the recorded listeners, you can just check it out. The game Warp. Did you guys hear about any of this?
No.
No.
Warp originally released on Origin as an Origin exclusive, but you can purchase it on Steam, and I haven't done this, and I don't know anybody who does this, but there's a huge disclaimer here on Steam. It says internet connection required, EA Origin account required, acceptance and use of the Origin end user license required, all sorts of crazy shit. So it looks like Valve is accepting Origin games on the Steam platform. This is really the first one that you need an Origin account to play a Steam game.
Via Steam?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I don't know how it works. So, like, if you launch this in Steam, does it open the Origin platform, or do you just need an Origin account to log into the game? I wanted to bring this up because I want to see if there's any listeners out there who have purchased Warp on Steam, because this could be really the sign of things to come. There's a couple games on Origin that I would actually like to try playing, but I don't want to play on the Origin platform, So how is this working exactly? I want to know. I want to hear from the listeners. How do you play Warp, which is an Origin exclusive on Steam, which you can purchase on Steam?
Does it just
maybe you just purchase it?
What's that?
Glenn,
sorry, can I say that again?
No, you go. Go on.
I was just asking, under the requirements, does it only say Origin account required, not Origin client?
It says EA Origin account.
And that's it?
That's it, yeah. And then it also says here, access online features and register for an EA Origin account. EA may retire online features after 30 days notice posted on EA.com service updates. So they're handling all the updates. How does this work?
Yeah, interesting. Maybe you just buy it via Steam. You don't use it via Steam. Just like you can, install any application to Steam. I got my MatTap application so that when I'm not doing anything, I go in MatTap so that people can see it if they see me, and then they maybe think, oh, what's that? Okay, so maybe it's just the same. You buy it via Steam, but you play it via Origin, as you've said, and you just start Origin via Steam, because you can start any application via Steam, can't you?
Yeah, I don't know. I
want
to know how this works.
Clever. Because they're getting the best of both worlds, aren't they? They're getting the commission from buying it through Steam, but they're not limiting people's choices.
Yep. So,
very clever.
If anybody knows how that works, send us an email, comment in the show, whatever. Let us know. I'm interested. Okay, releases and updates. Cry of Fear version 1.2 is out. I didn't take a look at this. Is it just bug fixes? Does anybody know?
Well, I think the major thing from my point of view is that they are now manual saving.
Yes.
And I'm going to get so much flack for this, but literally, if they hadn't changed that, I was considering not playing it, because for me that's a game breaker.
What? Wait, I'm a little bit confused. You like manual saving, or you don't like manual
Yes, I do. I want to be able to save any time I want. Any fucking time.
And you know, Philip, I'm in the same boat as you, but I'm going to disagree with you on this, because this game is a survival horror game. You have to be able to do things in a certain sequence, and it's not in the way Cry of Fear for saving when you can save. It's not inhibiting you. Like, if you step away from the computer to do something, you just have to start off. Maybe you lose about 5 minutes. I don't know. It's not
right.
It's not crazy. But there is a game mode actually that's incredibly hard. And when I say incredibly hard, I'd say like the hardest single player game mode I've ever played. It's called the Doctor mode in Cry of Fear, and there's no saving at all in that. And that's like an hour and a half game mode, and like if you get hit, you die. It's terribly hard. But you can actually manual save in the old Cry of Fear already. You just type save in console.
Sure. I just don't feel that that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not criticising, because it's their choice, and I think that anything done in a mod is acceptable because you're not selling it, and everybody gets a choice whether they want to play it. I just felt, as a concept, limiting people's saves is a game changer for me. It would be something that would stop me from playing some mods.
But it wasn't in terms of limiting in the same way that you needed a reel to put into the, like in Resident Evil. You can resave as many times as you want, as long as you were near a recorder. And sometimes, William, you did something and you're like, right, now I've achieved that, I'm going to backtrack and save, so I've got that progress. It's sort of like a tactical thing in terms of pacing of the mods.
I think it works.
So sometimes,
I think it works.
And I think it works in Cry of Fear. I don't think it was too. I think there was some points when it was too far before you needed to save, and sometimes the lack of morphine between places meant that you were so low on health you couldn't really get through areas without using manual saving. So the pacing was a little bit off in places, but I think about 90% of where the save points were in Cry of Fear made it okay.
Now, but you only know that. Sorry, William. Yeah. You only know that because you've played it.
Well,
Glenn hasn't played it. He watched me play it.
All right. Okay. So he has some experience of it. If you have no experience of it, there might be strange people out there like me that say, "Oh, don't like the sound of that. I'm not sure I want to get involved in that."
So what did you know about the save system before?
Not much. I just heard people talking about it on Planet Phillip, and then there was this thing I read about, you've got to take the VHS tapes, put them into a machine. Well, so I figured that, it sounds like a fantastic idea. I mean, its implementation sounds really interesting. But I just was thinking, I want to save whenever I save, because I get interrupted a bunch of times, and it's just inconvenient for me.
So let me clarify for the listeners, because, I mean, no offense, Philip, but you haven't played the game, so I'm going to explain exactly how it works in 1.0 and 1.2. In 1.0, the way it worked, at least in the single player, and in normal game mode, not nightmare game mode, because in nightmare game mode, and Philip, you're going to hate this, you can only save 3 times within the whole fucking game, which is terrible. But
I love it.
But that's the nightmare game mode. Anyway, so in the normal game mode in single player, you can only save at pre-designated areas. You didn't need a VHS tape or anything like that. That's actually part of a mission that you have to do. But you save in pre-designated areas, and there's like these little recorders on the ground at different areas, and that's where you save. But in 1.0, or in the original release of Cry of Fear, you can pull down the console and type save and then the game name. So people were getting around that by doing manual saving, and then you just load and then the save name. But in 1.2 they removed that, so you can no longer save via the console. You can only save the way they want you to save, which is through the pre-designated areas. So you're not going to play it now because of that, Philip?
Yeah, possibly not. No.
Okay.
Because I think it's just a choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, really, if there's a particular type of mod that I don't like the theme, I don't want to play it, and I don't like that concept. Of course, I'm gonna, be ridiculed in the community, but fuck you, I don't care. It's my choice. And maybe if I played it, I'd love it. So here's what I would do. I would start it, and if at any point I said that's just crazy, I would stop.
Yeah. Okay.
Life is too short
Phillip,
for me to play mods that I don't like.
I agree with you on that completely, but not just in terms of saving. I mean, when I play any mod and someone does something which is stupid and pisses me off, I think that my time is more valuable than the experience that I'm getting from the game. So, for example, William, you're playing the Cube at the moment, or you just finished playing the Cube, and there's moments in there when I'm watching you play that, and when a developer makes a stupid decision, or my game crashes, like it did in Cry of Fear a lot, I'd go, that's your fault. I can't be bothered to play that whole section again and restart the game up. My life is too short. If you haven't got the time to make sure that it's sort of perfect when you sort of release it, or it's not going to crash, or you make a really stupid development decision, you haven't tested it enough, I haven't got the time to go back in and get back up to that point again. It's your responsibility to make sure.
Give me 5, Glenn. Give me 5. Too slow. Okay.
But it's funny you mentioned the Cube, Glenn, because I totally forgot about this. Right now on our YouTube channel, there is a Let's Play of me playing through the Cube, or Cube. It's not called the Cube. It's called Cube, and it's actually a Half-Life 2 mod that has Portal 2, a lot of Portal 2 influence, a lot of sci-fi genre influence, and yeah, I actually couldn't finish it because it was just constantly crashing, and I got so pissed off at the end, so pissed off. And I would have quit. I actually would have quit earlier, but I felt like I was doing a service to people through the Let's Play. I should just continue, try to get through it.
Imagine putting yourself in the shoes of any ordinary person trying to play it. Yeah. And you're not as a person who's trying to show other people. You just give up, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh, forget it.
It's a really interesting mod too. It's so cool. It's so cool. But
I've enjoyed watching it.
So many
I thought it was a really good video.
Yeah,
I mean, there's been points when you've got to really stupid areas, which there was a discussion about this bit where you had the trial and error parts of the game, and there were someone explained in your comments that there is a way to find out what it is, and they were like, oh, I really hate when players blame developers. For when they don't find out the solutions. But if you make a solution so obscure and ridiculous, and not how a player can follow a thread or be led by sort of the decisions, the way they train you, and how Portal does, then it's not your fault. I was watching. I felt sorry for you playing it, William, at those points. You were getting really angry. I was getting angry for you because it's not fair.
No, it's not. I mean, I put the idea of the save points in the same box. The same pigeonhole, sorry, that's that word of the week, as Portal Pro. Portal Pro might be a fantastic one, but it's just too hard for most people, and I don't like it, but I respect their decision to make a mod like that, and I respect the guys at Cry of Fear to make a mod like that, but I have no obligation to play anything, and we're too busy for that. So,
yeah,
if you make those choices, expect to, have the consequences. For some people.
In the other... Also, sorry, go Glenn.
I was just going to say, I felt unfair picking on those points of the Cube. Watching you play it, I still really did enjoy it. I think there's some really great parts to it. I
so enjoyed it, and I look forward to the next one. Very much so.
But what does this come all... For me, it comes down to one huge area that you guys know that I get a hard on over. Beta testing.
Yeah. That's what it is. A lot of the time,
for sure. It comes down to beta testing.
It's still not good enough.
And it's not done properly, and it's rarely done properly. And it's not just about, you and your friends sitting around a table, the developers and the great players. It's about getting different configurations and different types of mentality and different levels of skill, and then taking all that feedback and deciding, okay, how best are we gonna do this? We don't have to listen to everybody because you can't, but you just have to say, well, you have to listen to everybody, yes, but you don't have to make decisions to please everybody. I accept that, but these things are never ever beta tested enough. Yeah. And a mod like Cry of Fear probably needed 6 months of beta testing.
I think it had enough beta testing.
Well, maybe not 6 months.
You're just sorry. Now let's not get confused. When you're mentioning beta testing, I'm thinking of Cube, but I think Cry of Fear was beta tested enough. I really think it was. You just have an issue with a certain feture that they're stuck on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think that's
maybe lots of other people
do
as well.
Beta testing.
The crashes when you used to shoot people that were held to the walls and stuff.
That should have been panned out. You're right.
All right. I mean, I apologise if I seem unfair to Cry of Fear, but of course it's the mod that's popular at the moment. 100,000 downloads. And yes, you're right. Cube should have been beta tested a bunch more.
It should.
It's not.
And you picked a really important point there as well, Phil. I think because you said different skill levels as well. Because I get a feeling that a lot of the people that they use to test their mods are sometimes other modders or people around them,
Absolutely,
maybe enthusiasts that play in these games. They're not just the average idiotic player, and I count myself in that category. And when you, for example, with Blue Portals, like, let's take that example. I feel like it was tested by all really good Portal players. So when it goes and average Joe plays it, like me, I'm just sitting there going, this is so hard. I couldn't even do the first chamber, and I was so looking forward to that. And it needs to be the spectrum of abilities, not the top end. It needs to be the full spectrum.
Yep. And that was one of the points about my beta testing collective. Everybody had to put their level that they played at, and we pushed the idea that at different points in the testing process, different skill levels were involved. And the
idiots
final,
are as important as the best, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. And the final tester was always me, because I consider myself a pretty bad player, and if I can get through it, then most people can, especially if it's a Portal mod. So the lowest common denominator can often be the deciding factor.
Yep.
I think it's important.
Okay, so let's move on. Also releases an update, Frontiers, which is that mod where it's actually sort of, it has a message as well. It's about immigration and people fleeing from different countries and their stories. But it also has a lot of gameplay to it. We had a lot of fun. We interviewed them a while back, but they released their final version, and it's just sort of a short changelog. But score system has been fixed, textures have been optimized, map boundaries fixed, some sound problems fixed, and they have a new feature which is called penalty rooms. So if you want to try playing out Frontiers, check out their final edition. It's half a gig, and listen to our interview with them, because that was a really fun interview, talking with them over talking with them about social issues and political issues and stuff like that. It was really fun. They're good group of guys. So download it, and they got a trailer up. What is this, Philip? What is Breakout by Benny Blanco?
Breakout is a Half-Life 1 map that was released almost a year ago, but only just sort of got it on my list to post, and it was from a csmapping.com UA competition, and it's like it's a Black Mesa themed little mod. And it's quite big for the content that it's got, but it's got some new textures and stuff. And it was really fun to play. I mean, it's not the greatest mod you'll ever play, but it looked like Black Mesa, and it felt like Black Mesa in parts. Just something that had been on the list to add for a while. And 226 downloads.
Yeah. What's the general score? Because right now I can't see Planet Phillip.
5.
5? Okay. Good.
5. I mean, basically, if you put numbers to it, it's 5. You've got 5 people with 5.
Cool.
So, if you like Black Mesa stuff, you would probably like this.
Neat. Okay, so let's move on to Media Blitz. Anybody have anything before I take a stab? I haven't really looked at much, to be honest.
Well, Mission Improbable was good. I've been in... Oh, sorry, Glenn, do you want to go?
No, I was just going to say, there's a lot of big names on this list this week. Usually, sometimes there's not much going on Media Blitz, but this looks good.
Go ahead, Philip. Mission Improbable.
What do you say about Mission Improbable?
Yeah, Mission Improbable. So he's been working in the background. I've been in contact with him a little bit. But he's basically redoing the first 2 episodes to sort of make it look a bit nicer and fit the general theme.
Nicer? How can you make that look nicer?
Well, have you seen the screenshot he's got?
Yeah, I got the one. I got it open here.
I mean, that's that looks pretty cool.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like he's done a good job there, and of course he's an excellent mapper. He's a professional by trade, so this is nice. So we're really going to have like a Mission Improbable complete series, I suppose, where we play right from the beginning. And he's not far away, he says. I can't tell you any more than that.
Far away.
That's nice. I mean, that's
part
from releasing the 3rd part, yeah.
So he's going to release the improved Section 1 and 2 with the 3rd part as one full...
Yeah, probably in one big mod.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
that would be a nice Let's Play. I might Let's Play that then as a full as a folder.
And it's like one of the top ones on Planet Phillip.
Yeah.
It's got some great scenes. So that's interesting. Looking forward to that.
Cool.
Is that his name Magnus or something, or is that
Magnar.
Magnar,
that's the guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything from you, Glenn?
I don't. We've got indie games on here as well. So I mean, I was really excited about the new release video for Natural Selection 2.
And Build 200 was released as well.
Yeah, the Build 200 one. Yeah, and I don't know. I just it's come on so far in like the last I think 2 or 3 patches.
It has.
I booted it up again and had a look around it recently, and yeah, from the old version when I used to have so many issues with it. I couldn't even get in the servers most of the time.
Me too.
It's come on so far. It's so the game is actually genuinely fun now. So if you bought this and pre-ordered it and you're waiting for the patch, you can actually get into it again now because it really is fun. It's there's so many new features they've added to it, and I mean you can just look at the trailers; they speak for themselves.
See, I'm in that boat, Glenn, actually, because when I originally bought Natural Selection 2, it was in its early build stages, and I was like, I can't play this. It's ruining everything that I love about Natural Selection right now. I'm just getting so angry. So I said to myself, I'm not playing Natural Selection until they go gold, until they're done with it, and they're done with all these stupid early betas. But now I might, after you said that, now I might go ahead and play it. Check out.
Yeah, I mean, there are still bugs. So, yeah. I couldn't say that you're going to get the full Natural Selection experience, and there's obviously some things that are different from Natural Selection 2. They've sort of changed some things around. But if you were to play now, if you're getting a real itch on about playing some Natural Selection 2 and you want to try it, you won't be as disappointed as you were before. They've ironed so much out and they've added so much more.
Good. I don't know if I ever asked you this, Philip. Did you ever play Natural Selection back in the day? Or?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I wasn't in the scene when it was released. I came along later.
He was playing Counter-Strike instead.
He wasn't in the scene when that released either.
No, I was playing Tetris probably.
All right, so I want to talk about Tension because this is a mod that I'm really looking forward to and has been silent for quite a while. We interviewed them so long ago, but it looks like they're getting back on track. So just wanted to mention them, and for anybody who hasn't heard of this mod, take a look at their profile. They got some new screenshots of some new textures and stuff. So check it all out and subscribe to them. Is there anything else from you, Glenn?
Which one did you just mention then? Sorry.
Tension.
Oh, Tension. Yeah, I wouldn't talk about Blade Symphony.
Okay.
Because yeah, I really like checking out there. They've got these video blog weekly update things, haven't they?
And they're short too. They're always 1-minute videos. It seems like the perfect length.
Yeah, exactly. I've subscribed to their channel recently, and yeah, you're right. It's just sort of bite-sized. And I just sort of just watch the video when I've got a spare minute, and I always just enjoy looking at the new stuff they've done. And what I remembered recently this week actually is that we did a preview of Berem. Do you remember Berem? That was the original. We did a preview. Do you remember playing that? Like that was 2009. We played that.
Yeah.
And it just made me realise, obviously since then they've had the Kickstarter, and I don't think was it even Puny Human that were making it.
The original developer was Ninja Zan.
That's it. Yeah, I remember that guy.
And, then he was working with the Dystopia team, which is Puny Human, and now Puny Human is just working on it entirely.
Yeah.
Ninja Zan, I don't think it's working on it anymore.
Yeah, I just find that so amazing how far it's come, and yeah, I just love watching these updates because they've come so far.
Yep.
And Michael still posts here, doesn't he? He's still around.
Podcast 17 gave a lot of money to their Kickstarter. We're gonna have a banner and like their maps and shit. It's gonna be awesome.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be cool. Okay, let's move on into discussion, I guess. And Planet Phillip poll question 267. What is it, Philip?
How do you feel about multiple endings? Basically, I had this kind of rant that I don't think multiple endings are a particularly good implementation at the moment because I feel they go against a basic tenet in life, which is you don't get second chances. I like the idea that you get multiple endings. What I don't like is basically the idea of you just go back to a point where it branches and then you play it again just to see what the other ending's like. I would prefer that instead of having multiple endings, the time and effort that went into creating those was made into making the mod longer. I mean, when I read a book, I get to the end, and, if the author's done his job properly, I say, wow, that was freaking awesome. I don't get to the end and think, I hope he writes another ending for this, and then I go back to halfway in the book and start reading again.
Or movies, same thing with movies.
exactly the same thing with movies. And my quote was, yeah, sure. If there's like a director's ending, maybe I'll watch just the ending, just to see what was going through the people's mind, but I won't go back and backtrack. And I suggested maybe a game where you can't save, or you can only save once. There's only one
Wait a
save.
second here.
I know.
Just a minute ago,
but you can save at any point that you want, but you've only got one save. So that the choices you make actually have consequences. Because if you can just replay a mod, those choices become meaningless.
Mm-hmm.
That was my point.
Replay things to get endings.
I mean, it just seems like a silly waste of time to me. I mean, it's nice to collect Easter eggs, and I recognise that some people like to do that, but I just think that a lot of effort goes into it, and until we have truly emergent gaming where the system creates the endings themselves, where we don't actually have to create them, I don't think that what we're doing at the moment is particularly interesting. So I just thought I'd ask the question,
Because there's a lot of games right now that are in the gaming sphere, like we just talked about Cry of Fear, which has 8 endings, and then of course in the general overall gaming sphere, there's the huge news about Mass Effect right now and its multiple endings and how everybody hates every single one. So what sparked this?
Mass Effect was the catalyst to finish the article. It's been in my draft folder for a long time, and all of these people whinging that they didn't get their happy ending in Mass Effect 3. It kind of brought it to the surface. And then it made me realise, fuck, what if Valve really screw up the ending of Half-Life 3?
Yeah.
I mean, really? No, they won't, because I have confidence in them. I do. I mean, I hate some of their business practices, and I'm not a big fan of some of the things they do, but I love what they do with games, and I don't think they're going to screw it up. But imagine if they did. It would almost ruin the whole... Sorry?
I think it's going to be hard to reach the expectations of all, isn't it? Despite what they do.
Sure, but I mean, I think there's a difference between killing all the characters off and humanity dies and the Combine take over the world. I mean, we know we're going to win. We got to win. It's like good versus evil. It's like a Star Wars kind of thing. We got.
What's your opinion on this, Philip? That I think it was it Dan Pinchback that said it last week, William? That he thinks Valve might have written themselves into the corner?
Yeah, he said that last week on Edge, on Edge magazine. Yeah.
On Edge. What do you think of that, Philip? Do you think they've written themselves into a corner? We're going to a boat, and we're going away from the whole universe that we've been in, City 17 and everything. We're going to a boat.
Wait. I made the argument. We don't know we're going to a boat. For all we know, the chopper could crash, and we don't even fucking make it to the Borealis in Episode 3. Nobody knows that.
So what? Okay, we've got 2 choices here. One, we get to the boat, but wait, the boat is all to do with the portals, yes? So we can... No? The boat is all about portals, that's why it's like in the middle of the Arctic. So, we can just portal back to anywhere we want to, okay?
But we have to shoot a portal in City 17 before we leave.
No. I mean, there's loads of possible ways of us getting back to City 17. I mean, I don't want to go back to City 17. As far as I'm concerned, we've got to go to the Combine home world, and we've got to kick their asses. I mean, there's only one outcome that I really want to see. I want to see us, take the fight to them. And if we don't, okay, fair enough. I'm sure that we'll do something good. But I don't really think that we're in a corner just because we're going to a boat. So what? We can go anywhere from that boat.
I actually look forward to it. I like Arctic settings.
Yeah. But, I mean, we can have some fun there.
You've written Laidlaw out of a corner there, Philip, I think, with that.
Well, I'm sure it's been discussed 100 times, really.
Yeah.
I mean...
By the way, your opinion on the multiple endings, I didn't have an opinion on it before, but after your speech, I agree with you now, because it was very convincing. And another thing I wanted to say about it quickly was... I completely agree about the whole process. I don't want to go back. I get an opinion over something when I finish playing it, and I don't want to go back and have to reassess my opinion based on the fact that I've got to go back to another fork in the road and choose something else, and then I have to have an opinion of that and that. I like to have an opinion of the full thing. And the other thing is that sometimes they're really badly done. I don't mean, and it's obvious. That's what really annoys me. So like in Cry of Fear, William, there's a point where he goes, "Do you want to give the doctor the gun?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And you go, yes or no, and you go, that's probably one of those choices which is going to affect the ending, yes or no. And it's so blatant, they just put it there so obviously. You're like, oh, well, now I just know where it's going to be if it changes or not. And it just kind of makes it like, oh, I know where I have to go back to now. I don't like the blatancy of it. I think it should be subtle if they are going to do it, which I'd rather they didn't.
You know what I don't like? I don't like going into a game. I started playing Mass Effect 3, but I don't like going into a game where I know there's multiple endings, and I'm constantly thinking in the back of my head, like, oh, I hope I get a good ending. Oh, I hope I don't get the bad ending. I hope, and I'm constantly worried about this, right? I just want a game to unfold in front of me and me not have to worry about any of that bullshit.
Absolutely, I agree.
When it presents itself with multiple endings, I'm not driven in the proper way. I'm driven for the endings. I'm not driven to play the game. So I just gave up on Mass Effect. I was like, fuck this. I don't care anymore. I hate it. Yeah. I absolutely hate it. But anyway.
I agree. I agree.
And then people start theming it, like you make a decision 50-50, and you're like, right, I'm bad. I've made a bad decision. And then later on, you get to another 50-50, and you're like, am I still bad, or do I not feel bad anymore? And and then you're like, no, I'll be bad again. And then you carry on going, and you're like, no, I must be bad again, even if you don't even agree with the decision. Yeah. And you have to keep being bad because I'm a bad person now, and you can never be good again. And you're pigeonholed.
And then the other thing, Phil, that we talked about recently was they were going to put a lot of multiple endings in Portal 2. Did you see that conference at JDC?
Yeah, I saw some of it, but I didn't, I didn't listen too much to it or read too much about it.
What do you think, though?
I'm glad they didn't, though.
You're glad? Okay. Because they were going to put endings where, like, you could beat the game within 5 minutes, and it would be convincing, as if, like, the game ends that quickly. For people, I don't know, but yeah, they were playing with ideas like this, but I guess they just went with the one ending. I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean the book and the movie is a good example. If you make the right choices for people, then you don't need to put multiple endings in.
Yeah. I think it's because people get carried away, isn't it, Philip? In a book or a film, you've got no interaction over what happens. You have to sit there and it just gets streamed into your eyeballs, into your brain. But when they know that the control's in your hands, they're like, let's fuck with them. That's the point. Because you can dictate what happens. They've just gone too far with it. That's
But just because you can doesn't mean you should. Just because you can give me those choices doesn't mean that those choices make the game better.
Definitely, I agree with you.
Leon said in chat, he says, when Amnesia added the multiple endings right in the last minute, I lost the dramatic weight. I think that's a good way of putting it. Because suddenly you're taken out of the game.
The endings at that are stupid as well. Like, one is just wait around. Do you know what I mean? Do nothing. That's a great ending, that one. It's just like, push some posts, throw a head in a hole. Those are literally just so arbitrary, and you just know, you can feel the defined endings. It doesn't feel like anything, but it feels like you're just ticking a box.
Yeah, I mean, as Cheesy Rat just said in the chat here, Half-Life had 2 endings. Yeah, they did, but you didn't need to make any particular choices way back. There is only one ending really.
And technically, the second ending is actually considered an Easter egg by many people. It's not considered an ending.
Right.
Because you can't continue the series if you pick that ending.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Portal was played, still alive. The theme to Portal 1 it was played by using a fiber laser. This isn't fiber optics. It's one of the high-powered lasers that they use for laser engraving. And he tuned the laser's frequencies to play Still Alive. I think it was pretty cool. He did a good job. And then
Philip's face doesn't say it is.
And then at the end of it,
I'm closing windows and things to try and open it.
At the end of it all, it drew the Aperture Science logo, which is really cool.
Yeah, I thought that was quite clever.
Yeah, it was good. Also on the agenda, the art of video games. I didn't see this, but it was tipped by Aaron. It's on CBS News. Did you read this, Glenn? Did anybody read this?
No.
I didn't get down.
Negative.
No. Okay, so we'll skip this because we're uninformed. But if you want to read about the art of video games, check it out. It's a CBS article tipped by Aaron. Also here, Companion Square, first fruits of the Valve and 3A toy partnership. I didn't know 3A had a toy partnership. Anyway, so I guess Valve is not only working with NECA, they're also working with 3A for a toy partnership, and And yeah, I guess there's some new images here of what you're going to be expecting to see from them. It's like a companion cube that walks around, sort of. Anyway, check it out. It's called the Companion Square. I like toys. Also, there's Portal cookie cutter sets on Level Up Studios, which you can buy. It's pretty neat. Actually, I've seen these before.
I've been shouting for years that I want an ice tray with head crabs. Really.
An ice tray?
I mean, with head crabs. How cool would that be?
That might be a little bit difficult to do.
No, come on. It'd be quite deep, or even a companion cube ice cube. Come on, that'd be so cool.
Did you know they have what they're called cold stones? Have you ever used a cold stone? On the topic of ice cubes, they're stones that you put in the freezer, and they're for whiskey or for liqueurs, so that you don't water down your drink. So they're these stones that get really, really cold. You put them in your drink, it keeps your drink cold without watering it down. Called cold.
That's
cold
great.
stones.
Do they float as well?
No, they go to the bottom. They don't work as well as ice
swallow
cubes.
them.
I thought it was a cherry.
Let
me just tell you about something that I do with Coke, because I'm like a weirdo. What I do is... Wait a
second. You told me your body's a temple. You don't drink Coke. I went under this entire idea that all you drink is lemon water. So now you're telling me you drink Coke.
Maybe about cocaine.
Very rarely. So what you do is you take a 2-litre bottle of Coke, but you pour some out first, so you've got a little bit of space. You put it in the freezer for 2 hours. The water has separated from the Coke just enough so that you pour the Coke out, and it's a little bit stronger, almost like a syrup, and that is freaking awesome. Okay, because it hasn't got any of the, taking out the dilution from the water, and that's the way you should drink. That's the way a real man drinks Coke. Huh?
We're all gonna
try it, baby.
I'm gonna
try it. Go on.
Coke syrup.
The best way.
All right, and lastly.
Yeah, I mean, almost.
Anyway, lastly on the agenda, a Portal 2 life-size inflatable sentry turret. This thing is huge. You can see it against the bottle of balls. But it's inflatable. Who would buy this? It's just like a giant balloon. It's 40 inches.
Cool.
You can sleep with it, Philip.
No, I don't think so. I'd burst it, if you know what I mean.
This is...
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Any other topics?
Yeah, I want to talk about The Simpsons.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they had a portal bit in it. I saw it the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Season 23, episode 16. I watched it today, and that geezer that's Monty Burns' bum buddy, Smithers, his bum buddy. He goes into the thing and he opens the door and there's these turrets. Then he shoots a portal hole. It's like, cool.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna find it because I have it, and I can. It's right at the beginning of the episode, so I'm gonna play it for the video stream. I think it. What episode did you say?
16.
16, yeah, that's the one I got. I'm gonna play the right beginnings. I'm gonna find it here.
I am being
Here we go.
That
Lesson.
was kind of cool.
So if you're watching it, yeah, that's cool. How Simpson always does a good job at. The Simpsons always does a good job at cueing in pop culture.
Yep. I mean, there must be sort of a list somewhere of all the references of Valve games in pop culture. There must be, maybe on Wikipedia, because they normally have like the references at the bottom.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of fun.
Glenn, you had something. You messaged me something. What do you want to do?
It's just another article which I read earlier in the week, which I thought you might find interesting.
Okay, I got it up.
And it was about Jonathan Blow, who is the guy behind Braid. If you've ever played Braid.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think he announced at GDC that he's got a new game coming called The Witness. And he was talking about the fact that Steam does a much better job than Xbox Live does. And he said, if I go to Steam, I can sell a game for $25 because he thinks that The Witness is a bigger game than Braid, so he thinks he can charge a higher price point for it. He goes, but if I want to put that on, you can't put something that's $25 onto Xbox Live Arcade because it's too expensive as an indie game. He says, in fact, the contract says I can't control the price at all. The artificial channeling is sort of making their platform inhospitable for certain kinds of games.
Mm-hmm.
And he said when he went to Valve, he said the engineers who typed the code out for the website make it all happen there. When we were there, I asked if it would be feasible to do something. They wrote it down and put it on their to-do list. It's the complete opposite of the Microsoft bureaucracy, which is, we can't do that. It's not how Xbox works. That's their standard answer.
Yeah, I think Xbox Live and Xbox Arcade is just really going downhill. I think it's lost all respect from even just general gamers. I think general gamers are starting to lose the respect for it as well.
The funny thing about that, though, is that they're doing more than Sony and Nintendo are doing, though.
Yeah,
still.
That's true.
It may be bad.
The PSN's not that bad. Definitely doing more than Nintendo, I'd say.
Are they? What about like indie games and stuff on the PSN?
No, that doesn't exist. No, not for indie games. Yeah, but for AAA titles. Anyway, okay. So, anything else?
I got something from the BBC, which is an article about how game sales have surpassed video for the first time in the UK.
Oh, for like the year or for the quarter? Or?
For the year. I've just posted it in the chat there.
Mm-hmm.
Basically telling us that, you know, there was sales of £1.93 billion compared to videos and DVDs. So it's the first time it's gone. I mean, this is a trend that we know is clearly happening. It's not sort of new for us, but the fact that it's, you know, on the BBC is good news because people are, you know, non-gamers are beginning to realise that gaming is, you know, huge.
It's interesting as well because recently they said that game sales have been down, and a big retailer in the UK this week went into administration called Game Station, and as a result of going into administration, you're thinking that's indicative of the fact that the sales are dropping. But then we have articles like this suggesting another way, that actually they're up over ahead of other forms of media, which suggests it's not actually the fact that the sales are dropping, but they're being bought via other means.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
I think brick and mortar stores are going to start feeling a lot of hurt. There's rumors right now that the new Xbox gaming system won't even be able to play traded in games. There's rumors that the new Sony systems won't be able to play traded games, and that's where companies like GameStop and stuff get a lot of their revenue from, trade-ins and reselling the games. Obviously, you can't do that with Steam, so companies like Xbox and stuff don't want you to be able to do that with their hard platforms either. So we'll see. Brick and mortar stores have a rough road ahead of them, I'd say.
They do.
Yeah, but anything that can be digitized is going to be, you know, not just that. I mean, video stores, music stores. Yep. I mean, all of these people are going to be struggling, or they're going to have to somehow adapt. It's going to be adapt or die. Yep. Because it's too easy to just buy everything from iTunes or from Steam.
Yeah, and I have a story. I have another story. I collect Star Wars comics. I went to a Star Wars comic place, to give you an idea, down the street. I haven't been there. I went to a comic book store, not a Star Wars comic book store, just a general comic book store, to look for the specific comic book that I wanted. And they didn't have it in store. They had like other ones sort of like it, but I didn't want those ones. So you know what? I left with Stephanie, like head between my legs, really upset. And then I went on Amazon, I bought the whole volumes, all the volumes on Amazon, and it showed up at my doorstep the next fucking day. Like, within 24 hours. And I didn't pay for super shipping, I just got free shipping. It was there on my doorstep the next 24 hours. So, yeah, you're right. It's happening with everything.
I mean, I remember the first time I bought with Amazon, years and years ago. I bought it at like 10:15 on Friday night. I went to my office on Saturday morning, which is where I have all my stuff sent, and it was waiting for me.
Yeah.
8 o'clock the next day, and it was waiting for me. It was like, oh my god, this is the future.
Witchcraft.
The future. All right. So with that said, that's another episode of Podcast 17 in the can. We'll see you guys next week. Next week, we are interviewing, I hope. We're still trying to get the date really nailed in. But I'm pretty sure we're interviewing the Orion team. They have some betas coming out soon, so we're going to be talking with them again, David Prazel and his super team. Also, I want to mention again that the All Points Bulletin is out. We want a dedicated reviewer. If you want to review games and get games for free, email Gerardo, Gerardo, at podcast17.com and send them your resume. You have to be an experienced reviewer, though. If you just send us, like, yo, dude, I want to review games, if you don't take it seriously, we won't take you seriously. So we're looking for somebody who really is dedicated towards this stuff and has a lot of experience doing it. Preferably somebody who's posted reviews on YouTube, written reviews as well, that's good too, but somebody who's interested in doing video primarily. So email Gerardo, and shoutouts go to Andy B, Twin Sons, and Urinal Cake for being slaves to the Overmind. And we'll see you guys next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye. See ya.
Bye-bye.